Friends, this is lecture series on public administration paper 2 and this is video 22. I think 23, sorry. So bureaucratic leadership, we will continue with this particular topic. It is a part of British legacy. So the bureaucratic personality of bureaucracy or bureaucratic leader or bureaucrat, whatever you can say, it is intimately associated with policy formulation and decision making. So because during British era these bureaucrats were all having all the powers, so that's the case. Then we can say some examples like Thomas Munro was bureaucrat in civil services. So he was the father of Roy Tory system, and this Roy Tory system was a system of revenue collection which was famous in southern states, that is Madras. And that time Tamil Nadu was known as Madras. And then Sir Harcourt Butler, we have a particular engineering college and many colleges on his name, so he was also a very good administrator, and the policy formulation and decision making depended on their personality. So right now also it's true. Then came Macaulay report in 1854. So I will write here 1854. Just remember these years are very important. So Macaulay report told that the bureaucrats they should have these qualities. First is self-denial. They should not think about themselves. They should think about society. Then perseverance. They should be very hardworking, and they should never give up. They should just continue doing. And then industry means very hardworking. So you can see that right now whatever UPSC examination is all about, it's all, about these three things only. They check our self-denial in our ethics paper, they check our perseverance, because this is such a tough exam that you have to just continue and don't lose your heart, you just keep on preparing. And then industry, hard work, of course everyone knows that we have to study a lot. Then coming on next topic, Royal Commission on Decentralization. I told you about this Decentralization Commission earlier also. So it was formulated in 1907 and it gave its report in 1909. So you can say that the Decentralization Commission also, the both things are same. So it pointed out barriers between government and public. So what are the things which are separating them both? Okay, then coming on secretariat reforms, you have already learned about what constituted secretariat and how the secretariat increased with time. Then we will see what are the reforms in the secretariat system. So first is that Secretariat Procedure Committee was formulated in 1919. So this particular committee recommended that first of all there should be a pyramidal organization, and in this pyramidal organization secretary will be at top, and secretary means secretary of any department, and for all the departments there is head, that is chief secretary. So secretary will be at top, then below him will be deputy secretary 1 and deputy secretary 2, and below him that additional secretary, under secretary, joint secretary, and so many things are there. So we will see the whole hierarchy when we will learn about secretariat system in public administration paper 2 topics. So right now just know that it recommended pyramidal organization, which is still continuing. Then second point is that abolish under secretariats. So this was the lowest position in secretariat, and they recommended abolition of it because it was leading to a lot of delay in works. So the first purpose was that to reduce administrative delays, and then second purpose was expedite official business. So again means so that work happens faster. Then came Llewellyn's Smith Committee in 1920. So this committee re-examined the tenure system. Tenure system means you have some fixed tenure. Tenure means the amount of time you work at a particular place. Okay. So it recommended fixed tenure of 4 years for secretary and deputy secretaries, because if they were not getting a fixed tenure, so they were not able to work that much, they were transferred very early. So the reason was that to bring stability in working of secretariat. So just remember this name. Llewellyn Smith Committee was the first committee which recommended fixed tenure. Then the Secretariat Committee in 1935 or Wheeler Committee. So it recommended practice of double notings to speed up the work, and a lot of committees were formed. Then Maxwell Committee in 1937. So Secretary of Department should be responsible to minister and should guide him. So again, you know that during Government of India Act 1935, the provinces were given autonomy, and in center we have they started this direct G system. So then this Maxwell Committee recommended that secretary should be responsible. Before that, secretary was having all powers. Then Tottenham Committee in 1945-46, it told that reorganization of secretariat should be done because it was becoming too bulky. So it recommended first is that distinct duties be assigned to different grades of secretarial officers. So means clear job organization, or means what do you say, that job assignment. There should be clear job assignment. And then second point was that agreed nomenclatures to be set for each grade. So each grade will be called something like section officer, under secretary, deputy secretary, joint secretary, additional secretary, like that. So nomenclatures will be there, and every person will be having fixed duty. So we will see the conclusion of this British legacy in India. So first conclusion is that rigorous experimentation and innovation. So they totally challenged and they changed the whole atmosphere of administration in India. And then second is continuity from Mughal administration. Some features, I told you a lot of features like in revenue administration and in judicial administration. So you can see it before. Then third is that present system has been built on British heritage, namely these are the British heritages. First is generalist character was there. Then second is all India services. Third is open competition for recruitment. Fourth is administrative training. These are some of the parts on which the present Indian administrative system is dependent. So I will tell you all the things. You have seen these four. Then coming the central and the state secretariat system, I told you how the secretariat worked and how it was developed. Then pattern of decentralization, there was the Royal Decentralization Commission in 1909, and then Lord Ripon. Then coming on office procedures, how the officials used to work. Then management of district administration, I already told. Then position of district collector, the district collector became so much powerful during British government only. Then revenue administration, right now also we are following the same thing. There is a central board of direct taxes and central board of custom and central excise, same like British government. And then we have this divisional commissioner and then district collector, and then so many revenue administrators are there. And since we have now more focus on income tax and this service tax and all that, so there is separate officials for that, which are called Indian revenue officers. So that is a little bit of different between British era and right now, because during British era there was not that much income tax. Even that income tax was not even collected during up to 1919 or 1920. Then the police system is totally legacy of British rule, and I have explained it in a lot of detail. The reorganization of judiciary, then criminal justice administration, rule of law, institutionalization of impersonal government, then budgeting, accounting, auditing, these are all legacy. Urban local government, municipalities, their legacy is not that rural local government, that is panchayat is our own innovation. Then origin of Indian constitution could be traced to Government of India Act 1935, which is also known as mini constitution. Okay, then coming I will just complete it in this particular video. So the main intentions of the government was that it was self-centered, it was exploitative, and it was regressive, imperialistic police state. So these are some of the characteristics and intentions. and the princely states did not experience same administrative innovations. That's why the princely areas were very less developed. And some questions are that have British rule and princely regimes led to over centralized structure? You can answer me. Or does mini my bab concept still holds in a lot of areas of government? Then has the colonial rule led to secrecy in work culture? So we have this Right to Information Act right now, so you can think about it. Then fourth is that feeling of distrust, including police. No one cares, or no one actually loves police. They just all fear police. They don't want to go to police. So still this legacy is continuing. And then fifth is legacy of merit, stability and continuity or not. So they gave a stable administrative system to India. That is true. And the next question is, are we able to blend democratic transformation and effective governance? So this is again the question on our constitutional status, as well as how much successful we have in running our country. So these are some of the questions which are direct questions related to British legacy, and by it I now end this particular topic, British legacy in India, and now you can answer almost all questions related to this British legacy. And in next particular video we will start the discussions on the next topic, which is constitutionalism. So that is also very interesting topic, so we will continue that. So thank you and see you next video.